It is so good to all be together, and I really hate to stop these great conversations. However, you may continue after the meeting. We'd love that. I'm Fran Baker. I'm currently the president of Resident Council, and I'd like to introduce our other officers. Our secretary, Sandy Hunt, does a wonderful job. I hope you all read her minutes when they're available. Vice President is Janet Crowell. And I think Janet would like to have some words of welcome for first-time attendees.
It looks like we have about 8 people. Fran and I thought if there were going to be 40, that we wouldn't go and have you introduce yourself, but I think we're able to do that. So I'll start over here. Raise your hands again, please. And if you would tell us your name and where you moved from, where you live in the village, and how long you've been with us.
Nancy Johnston, Roland Park, Kansas. I moved here October the 2nd, this last year.
Welcome.
F building.
F building.
104.
F building. I hear she bakes, so you might look up 104. No.
Did you have them stand up? Did you have them stand up?
Oh, well, I didn't want to tax them, but there she is.
I'm Liz Thill, and I moved from Lee Summit, the other part of Lee Summit, just across the town. And I live in Building B, and I've been here just before the lockdown. So now I'm really the new kid.
Welcome. Okay, and hand right here.
My name is Gay Desmond. It's really Harris Desmond.
Hold it up there.
And I moved here from St. Louis in October of 2019, and 3 months later was the pandemic. So I barely got to know anything or anybody, just a few people. So I live in Villager North. And is that it?
And we're so glad you're here. Anybody?
I'm Jerry Booker, and I moved from Oak Grove, and I moved here February 5th in a snowstorm. And I'm in G building.
Welcome.
I'm Mary Straub, and I've been here 1 month, and I moved from Springdale, Arkansas, and I'm in G.
Welcome.
Bonnie and Mike Silvers. We lived here in Lee Summit, so we just moved across town to Osso. We live in a duplex on Peace Parkway.
Welcome.
Leon Schumacher. I live in C building, and I have a lot of good friends in here that we met right on the other side of the wall here. Anyway, I moved from near Summit Grill up there, and so now I'm enjoying it here.
Welcome.
Donna Wilson, live in Lindbergh, moved from Harrisonville, and I moved in November.
Welcome. If you'd pass that down.
Go ahead. Okay, thank you. Okay, we're Ed and Donna Ullman, and we've been here just about the same. We were here about a week and a half, and everything shut down. And moved in from Raytown and Independence. And looking forward, this is the first big meeting we've gotten to go to. And we had a meet and greet in our Building B the other day, so we're excited.
We welcome you. Lynn, I know you're an old timer.
My name is Barbara Howard, and this is my husband, Richard. He can give you the details.
We moved here on the 21st of May, and we've been really trying to get unpacked and all that kind of stuff. But we have a lot of friends here and we've seen some of them, and John and Lynn have treated us just like we were there. They were our kids.
They are our kids. You did their wedding.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just really pleased to be here. And we came from, we used to live in the Groves over in Independence, Missouri. Mm-hmm.
Live where now?
D301, Building D, like in David.
We're going to move to the graves after here. We're going to move to the graves after here.
Today's special for them because...
Oh, it's our 68th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm Phil Schlarb. My wife Judy and I moved here April 1st, and we're in D203.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm John Claybaugh. This is my wife, Sandy. We moved March of 2020, so right before everything locked down. We're in one of the villas at Shamrock Avenue and Shamrock Lane. And we moved from just the other end of Murray here in Lee Summit.
Welcome. Anybody? Huh? Anybody? Did I miss somebody? Oh, way over there. Sorry. Hi.
I'm Mary Ann Davis, and
Say your name again.
Mary Ann Davis, and I moved from 3rd and Jefferson here on June 3rd, 2020.
And you are
And I'm on Shady Circle. I think that's the name. Yeah, Shady.
Welcome.
I'm Bonnie Coulter. My husband Greg's working with the real estate agent in Tulsa right now. So we just moved in about a month ago, and we're from Tulsa, and we're in the new villas on Shamrock.
Welcome. Okay, I think we've got a couple up here, and
I'm Jennifer Dunbar. I moved from Overland Park, and I live in C Building. I came here in August.
welcome.
I'm Janet Teeter, and I live in Lindbergh. I moved here in December, and I used to live in Lee Summit for a long time, and then for a little short time at Country Meadows. So,
welcome. Anyone else? First-timers? Well, we're so glad you're here, and we thank you for your patience and listening to all the newcomers. And when you see them, even if you're like me and you don't remember the last name, give a big wave and smile.
Okay, we're glad to have you here, and I think you're going to find that this is a meeting where you can learn a lot. We get information from all areas, and we'll begin with Dan Rexroth. He's president of JKV, and he's always got good words for us.
Thank you, Fran. And thank you, all of you, for coming out today. You don't know how you're making my day with your shiny faces, and thank you for being here. What a great new group of residents. Isn't this exciting? I do enjoy getting out and meeting people, so if you want to ever invite me to your neighborhood group, district group, resident group, I'm more than happy to come out, and particularly now, I've been released from my office, so I'm very excited to get out. I read a news article that somebody had written who is an academic type. He lives out on the East Coast. He lives in a retirement community out there, and he called it benevolent incarceration. what we've experienced the last year. So, you know, it's not just if you live in a retirement community, it's for all of us that we've been experiencing what we might call benevolent incarceration. So it's glad to be released, glad to be out. So if you'd ever like me to come and speak to your group, and if there's food involved, I would definitely come. So let's get back together. How's that sound? So first of all, I'd like to introduce someone, and he's sitting on the very back row, but Anthony Colombato is our new Vice President of Health Services. He is here today. Anthony, stand and let everybody, take your mask off for a second. Right. Thanks, Anthony. Rodney McBride, you know, has retired. And I thanked him for not retiring 14 months ago. But, you know, it has been a pretty tough year on all of us. But Rodney wanted to spend time with his grandkids and just felt like the time was right to retire. So, but Anthony's been the care center administrator for the last 4.5 years. He's done an outstanding job there, particularly under this last year of very difficult conditions. He's done an outstanding job, and so we're glad for him. A number of people have asked me about the masks. Anthony's wearing one, and Gail and Maria, and I was wearing one. So probably very soon we'll have the staff released from wearing masks. But we did want to, because we still do have some residents that are concerned, and they are a little bit hesitant in terms of staff. They have a housekeeper or maintenance or someone in their unit. They just want to make sure that they stay safe. So anyway, for a little while here, we're going to continue with the staff wearing masks so that all the residents feel comfortable. But hopefully soon that will go away. When I'm out and about in stores, probably like you, more and more I see people who are more comfortable without their masks. So we'll get there. I do want to comment on just, you know, your response over the last 14 months, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you for the teamwork, the cooperation, the collaboration. There have been hundreds and hundreds of decisions that we've had to make. Sometimes, if you remember going way back, there was a lot that was unknown. You remember the 14 days everybody's going to hunker down and then we're going to bend the curve and everybody will be back to normal? Well, how did that go for us, you know? And all of the other predictions that were made, some very dire predictions, some that were, oh, this is going to be no big thing. That's what we were faced with 14 months ago. And lots of things that we had to decide, you know, moment by moment decisions and under very uncertain circumstances. And you all worked very cooperatively with us. I think we kind of all were pointed in the right direction. Everybody might not have agreed on every detail, but boy, we accomplished a lot together, so thank you. We tried to keep the communication lines as wide open as possible, back and forth. We tried to give you what we called facts, not fear. And so hopefully you were appreciative of that and at least recognized our efforts of transparency and communication, so thank you. And, you know, Saturday night, I don't know how many of you were able to attend, but we had the first big pavilion event, and what a wonderful thing with 500 tickets sold to the Lee Summit Symphony, which we're going to continue that relationship with them, and Gail has been instrumental. She serves on the board of directors there. But that's fantastic. We're going to have our gala in the pavilion this September, and so things are starting to happen. We are moving forward together, and I am very excited about the year of, last year was the COVID year. This year is the year of getting back to normal. So, and that sounds really good to me. So thank you.
And next we have Maria Timberlake. She's Vice President of Senior Living, and she has just been about to burst with all these things she wants to tell us.
Thank you, Fran. Bear with me a minute. I'm going to pull up my presentation. Okay. Yeah, the world seems right again. Looking out at everybody makes me so happy. So, oops. Okay, so months ago, we made an announcement that we were going to expand the Meadows. We call it Meadows Phase 2. And one of the things that we announced to you was that we were going to work some important projects into the financing package for Meadows 2. We were going to put money into resurface Peace Parkway. Yay! We were going to renovate the Villager Salon. Yay! And we were going to renovate the existing assisted living, the 100, 200, and 300 wings of assisted living. And we were really excited that we felt that the project could bear those additional projects. Well, we have worked very hard over many months and taking our estimated initial costs and driving them down. So we did that in two ways. One was on the construction side, and then one was on the financing side. So kudos to Kim Clockingay and Steve Segerman on our finance division for driving down the cost of money, and to Eric Scott and our project manager Justin Thompson for really getting into the detail of the construction and driving those costs down. Accordingly, we have added some additional projects into the Meadows 2 financing. And so we recently completed that financing. We have the money available to us. And so I'm here today to tell you what additional projects we're going to be adding in over the next year to 15 months. When we look at what projects to do, there will always be as many opinions as there are people in a room. And really some of our drivers are resident satisfaction, the curb appeal or marketability factor, as well as occupancy. How can we drive up occupancy? Because that's good for everybody. So I'm going to talk about those projects, but first I wanted to give you a sneak peek into the assisted living renovation, because that is almost complete. We advanced ourselves the money and are paying ourselves out of the financing package for Meadows 2. So these are before and after pictures. It's a little bit hard to tell, but on the left is the old, and you can tell just from the picture that it's kind of dark and dreary, and then the new on the right. So you can see we replaced the old carpeting with some high-grade vinyl plank flooring that looks kind of like hardwood, some new paint and carpet, and most notably, if you'll notice the light fixture, if any of you have been in assisted living, there were those fake skylights at those intersections, and those have been ripped out and the lighting has been enhanced considerably. So that's the mailbox area, and we all know how important mailboxes are. So there's a picture of the corridor before, which kind of had a khaki green on the bottom and a tan on the top and kind of brownish carpet. And you can see we whited out the woodwork, replaced the handrails, and again, really enhanced the lighting. And what's kind of strange, when you walk through there, you would swear those hallways got wider. So this is where the bird atrium is on as you leave the 100 unit and go down to the 300 unit. And you can see there's a ladder there. It's not quite finished. We don't have, the furniture I think is being placed either the end of last week or the beginning of this week, and the artwork has a delay. It won't be here till mid-August. But we tried to pick up some of the color schemes that we've used in other areas of the village and make it more compatible with the new assisted living building, which is the 400 unit. And then that's the nurse's station on the left, the older oak cabinets and laminate, and then on the right with new lighting and a little bit upgraded carpentry. So just a little sneak peek. We would love for you all to be able to see assisted living. We would love for you to be able to eat in Fireside again, and we would love for you, those of you who live in FG&H, to be able to cut through. But the regulations don't allow that right now, but I was asked if there had been a change in the village's philosophy about Fireside, whether we were going to make it assisted living only, and that is not the case. We will open that up as soon as we can based on the regulations. So no cutting through. Some of you were setting off the alarm, so don't do that. I'll send Brian a polka after you. Okay, so you ready? The first thing we're going to do is we are going to paint and carpet the corridors of F, G, and H. Yay! Okay. The furniture there is in pretty good condition. There are a few pieces that need to be replaced, but mostly it will be on the corridors. The carpeting is quite worn, and it needs a fresh, brighter coat of paint. We're also going to accelerate all the unit renovations over there. So we did a refresh of those buildings about 15 years ago, and we had a slew of people all move in at the same time. And guess what? They all left around the same time. So we want to get that place filled back up. So we're going to aggressively renovate those units, get the corridors looking a little fresh, and going to fill that place back up. We anticipate doing that in the fall of this year, and it will take about 4 months to get through the building. The next, we're going to renovate the Villager Inn, including places. Yay! Okay, so this is the most exciting piece of what I'm going to say today. We have a chunk of money that has been identified. There are a lot of needs. So we have not started our project planning. So if you ask me, what color is the carpet going to be, or does it include this or going to include that? Don't know. We haven't started the project. We're just announcing it at this time. But we will be updating places. We'll be updating the Villager Salon. There are some building improvements that need to be made that are not the pretty stuff, but kind of infrastructure stuff. We're really going to be looking at from the marketing lobby all the way back to where the Villager North, East, and West intersect with the building, and seeing how much we can accomplish between those 2 points. And there's a lot of planning that will have to go in on the project, but even more important will be the logistical planning, because there will be service interruptions, both in the salon and in the dining room. We don't know what those look like right now, but I anticipate I'll need to come back at some point in the fall, and we'll share more details. And then also at the town hall meeting that's up in the Villager, because it will mostly impact the Villager residents, but obviously there's a lot of residents who use the fitness center, the bowling alley, eat at places, swim in the pool. So a lot of people will be impacted by this. And this is, when we did the resident satisfaction survey, there were 3 things that we said if we could do these things, we would improve satisfaction. They were do a new recycling program, which we did, renovate places, and resurface Peace Parkway. So we're on task. So this will be, we figure we're going to start after Christmas. Let us get our planning done, get through the holidays, and then start sometime after that. Again, we'll be trying to coordinate all those logistics and all the plans and announcing those later on. And it'll probably be about a 6-month project. And then Villager North, East, and West we'll be getting new carpet. That carpet has not worn well, and we're going to be replacing that. That'll be following the Villager Inn renovations. So maybe this time next year. This time next year. Okay, a couple of other things. Peace Parkway will be done at the end of the Meadows 2 construction project. With the number of trucks in and out of that project, we think that it's more prudent to wait until the end. We do have money budgeted that go all the way from B building to Pryor Road. There are parts that are in better shape than other parts. There are some curbs and sidewalks that need to be addressed. So we'll be looking at the entirety of those needs. Exciting for you all, but pretty exciting for us, right, Donna? Is we are going to be, hope to be re-roofing the administrative center. That building has leaked, and for years it's got skylights. Have you all seen the skylights in the admin center? They've been covered with tarps for a couple years now. And during one of our recent rains, we actually had a light fixture fall and almost hit an employee in the finance division. So it's time to do that. What an unglamorous use of money. It's always fun to do the pretty stuff, but this is important to keep that building livable, so to speak. And again, for all of these projects, we have a lot of detailed planning to do. We're really here today just to let you know that we have secured that funding, that we plan on going through that process, and we'll be using all of our communication tools to share details with you as those pan out. So very excited to share that news today, and that's what I have for you.
Okay, so how many remember everything that she said? Yeah, but it is very informative and exciting. So we see John Knox is on the move. As a part of our resident council, we have 5 standing committees, and typically they meet once a month, but we know nothing is typical. So anyway, and then they give a report at this meeting, so you get to learn more things about the village and what's going on. And up on the screen in a minute, you will see the names of the committees, the chairperson, and that person's phone number. So if you think you might be interested in that committee or you want to visit it, you can call the chair and make arrangements to do that. So we will begin with the Finance Committee that did not meet. So there is no report. Joe Chase does not have a report today. So we have Health Services with Martha Wood.
Well, you don't want to follow Maria Timberlake when she has good news. Dan covered a little bit about Rodney and Anthony, but Rodney has always been our liaison at all of our meetings, and Anthony will continue with that. Let's see, I was just, okay. Anthony is also going to assume and serve as administrator of Village Assisted Living until a new administrator is hired. Tammy Hoverston will take over as the Village Care Center administrator, and Amber Fisher will serve as the interim director of nursing. When Anthony was asked what his short and long-term goals are, he replied that short-term is staffing due to competition and a general shortage of nurses due to COVID. He will work to provide good retention strategies. On that point, 8 international nurses have arrived. 2 of them will be working at assisted living and 6 at the care center. Anthony also spoke of the program the village has in place to identify and train CNAs. They are paid while they get their certifications, and 10 or 12 will graduate in June. For the long term, recognizing and addressing the trend in which more people want to age in place, he plans to utilize technology to offer additional types of care to make this possible. Anthony explained that John Knox Village is part of an advocacy group called Leading Age that advocates for nonprofit retirement communities, and he serves on its board of directors. A goal of Leading Age is to advocate for Medicaid and educate legislators on the values society places on people of age. Rodney McBride said he had enjoyed working with this committee and its chairs both past and present. He reported that the final renovation of assisted living will be complete by early June, except for a delay in artwork. Home health and hospice have had an increase in in-home patients. However, the seriously ill patient program to complement hospice has been delayed, and it may not happen. The village has negotiated an increase in managed care rates with United and Humana. That's good. He also spoke about this transition time being the opportune time to review the organizational structure of John Knox Village health-related departments. Shortly after this meeting, we learned the good news that our meeting on June 9th will be in person in the administrative boardroom.
Thank you. Dick Erickson is chair of the nominating committee, and they were very busy earlier in the year, so they're taking the summer off. But we'll hear from him in the fall.
Without pay.
Without pay, yes. Resident Service Committee, Carol Jennings.
Resident Service Committee met on May 20 via Zoom, and I'm happy to announce also that our next meeting will be in the administrative boardroom, and we meet on the second Monday of every month at 9:30 in the boardroom. If you'd like to visit our committee, you're welcome to do that, but I would appreciate if you'd give me a call beforehand. Minutes of the April 10 meeting were approved. Staff liaison Maria Timberlake discussed the Phase 3 reopening of JKV, which will begin June 1, depending on further changes in COVID-19. Maria discussed the opening presentation she will make at several different times on Channel 2, and I hope you all were able to see that, and via a link on the Daily E-Blast. A detailed description will be printed in the May 14 mid-month Village Voice. Federal, state, and county rules are being carefully followed during this time, and we hear that every day. Director of Public Safety, Brian Opoka, discussed the startup of the grocery bus in Phase 3 with new and improved changes in procedures. Reservations will now be required to ride the grocery bus. Residents should call transportation or the concierge desks to make a reservation. Members of the same household can ride together and count as one seat. Specific information about the destinations and pickup times will be found in the mid-month Village Voice, Daily E-Blast, and on Channel 2. There was no old business, but new business. A question was raised regarding the problem with parking signs at the old medical building. There were signs on the side of the building that still indicated physician parking in patient parking. I talked with the facility manager, John Spears, about this concern, and the signs were removed. John simply said that those signs had been overlooked and expressed appreciation for drawing attention to the inconvenience. So I think the people in D building now can be happy that their visitors have additional parking spaces. No other business. The meeting adjourned. Our next meeting will be next Monday, June 14, 9:30 in the boardroom. Thank you.
Anna Margaret McGuire is chair of the Sales Marketing Committee, and we won't have her report today. We'll hear from her next time. So that concludes our committee reports, and so we have some more good news and some more information I'm sure you'll be happy to hear. Gail Benne, president of the John Knox Foundation, is going to talk to us about some upcoming events.
Feels so much better. I'm going to echo what Dan and Maria both said. It is so good to see you. It really is. I just almost makes you want to cry. I'm serious. But anyway, yes, I want to talk to you a little bit about this year's gala For those who are new to the community, you've probably read in the Village Voice and other communications that there is a foundation here at Knox Village. We are a separate 501c3 with a separate board of trustees, and we exist solely to receive and manage charitable gifts to benefit Knox Village. And one of the things that we started back in 2015 was an annual gala. I was just talking to somebody this morning about the year I had my performance review with Dan, and he said, have you ever thought about doing an event? And we did, and it's grown every year, and people have had a lot of fun, and we've raised probably around $1 million. I'm going to need to figure that out over 4 years. So we're going to do it again this year. A year ago this month, I would have been standing in front of you saying that the event was next month because it has typically been in July, but we all know what happened last year. So we had to scrap that idea, and instead of a gala, we decided to do a campaign to raise money for buses, which was going to be the beneficiary of the proceeds from the event. And you probably also know that the On the Road Again campaign was extremely successful thanks to you. So many of you gave who have never given before, and it was so touching to all of us to see the response that we received. And we ended up raising over $190,000, and we were able to purchase 3 buses. So every time I see those going around the community with the pictures of people on them, and they're nice and bright and shiny and no rust, makes me very proud, and I thank all of you who were part of making that happen. So this year's gala will be a little bit later for obvious reasons. We will be celebrating on September 18th rather than in July. We are going to have the same theme that we had planned for last year, which is Let's Fiesta. We've added a little tagline, which is Segundo Intento, which means second try. And I actually think I always think that everything happens for a reason, and I am glad that we are going to be having a fiesta this year because fiesta means celebration. It's something that started in Spain, and it is found in Latin America and the Philippines, and it is a party and a celebration of good times. So we will be celebrating and having a good time on September 18th. We will be in the pavilion. We will have hopefully the same venue that we've had in the past, which is silent and live auctions and dinner, catered, of course, by our wonderful dining services department. We will have a taco truck, which is being constructed by Hobby Hut and painted by Jan Malott, who's a wonderful artist who lives here at Knox Village, and we will be serving tacos out of that truck, of course. So, and there'll be lots of other food. I mean, you know how our dining services works. There's going to be so much food and such a variety that it's going to be wonderful. We've also secured Michael Dale and the Hired Guns. They performed at the 2019 gala, and they were very well received and thrilled to be invited back. And they have us on their Facebook page, and they're really excited about being here again. So a couple people have asked me, well, what about COVID? And the way things are going, God willing, things will continue to get better and to open up more and more. But as was said a minute ago, we continue to monitor all of that. And if we need to make adjustments, we will make adjustments in terms of attendance. I'm sure that dining services will make modifications in food services and so forth. We want everyone to be healthy and to have a good time and not have to worry about that. So we're on top of all of that. So what are we going to raise money for this year? I think you probably know because there have been articles out there. The Gala will kick off a campaign to raise funds for a new EMS headquarters, emergency medical services for that department. And we are going to call that campaign Raise a Roof for EMS, which is not an uncommon slogan for a building campaign. How many of you have used our EMS or know someone who's used our EMS services? A lot, a lot. We are so lucky to have this service here on the campus. I was talking to Emily Banyas earlier. There may be one other a life plan community in the country that has one. I don't know if you know, Maria. There may be one other, but if so, we're one of two in the whole United States of America. So that's pretty impressive. We currently have 30 associates in that department, and who are emergency medical technicians or paramedics. And they are, usually there are 7 people on each shift. You may know or you may not know that 70% of the calls that our EMS associates respond to are off campus. We do all of the non-emergency transfers in the city of Lee Summit. That allows the Lee Summit Fire Department to be free to respond to real emergencies. We also provide backup if we are needed for those real emergencies. We also have a mutual aid agreement with Harrisonville and Raytown. So we are standing by, ready to help wherever we are needed. EMS answers over 4,000 calls a year. That is a 25% increase since 2018. And of course, last year they did many, many COVID transfers in the area. So hopefully that's pretty much done. So why do we need a new headquarters? How many of you know where EMS is headquartered now? A lot of you do. They are in the back side, the west side of the administrative center. They've been there since the 1980s. Needless to say, the department was smaller at that time, but it has continued to grow to meet the needs here on the campus, and as Lee Summit becomes a medical hub for Eastern Jackson County, we are called upon more and more often to provide services to people who do not live here. Currently, the headquarters back there is about 2,300 square feet, and of that, 1,500 square feet is for the ambulances and for a public hallway, which the executives use, and other people who park behind the building would come in and go in and come in and go in through their area. So that leaves about 790 square feet for the staff. There are typically 7 people on in the area at any given time. Sometimes it goes up to 9. I was talking to Brian Apoka today. He said they usually staff 7 people, but he said as soon as people are starting to leave for the day, we inevitably get another call, and then Brian or Daniel Rousey has to hop into an ambulance and take off. So sometimes there are as many as 9 people back in that very small area. They do have sleeping quarters back there, very modest sleeping quarters, 2 unisex bathrooms, a day room with a small stove and a refrigerator, and couches for sitting, and a supply closet and an office. And Daniel was telling me that during the COVID epidemic, of course, they couldn't all gather in the same room. So a lot of them who are on here for 24-hour shifts had to stay in their little sleeping quarters. Not much fun. And he also told me that with the exception of the mattresses, which were purchased new, all of the furnishings back there came from the thrift store. So you're kind of getting the picture. And then on top of that, there is only room for 2 ambulances, and we currently have 4 that are running, or available to be running at all times. So we're out of room back there. The job of an EMS professional, as you can imagine, is extremely stressful. Like I said, they work long hours. They have to be available to jump up and handle an emergency at any time. Then they come back after that call or that run to a hospital or so forth, or saving a life, and they come back and maybe they want to try to sleep, or they want to rest, or they just want to relax and chill for a little while, and there really isn't any adequate place for them to do that. So we need a new building, and that is what the Raise a Roof for EMS campaign is going to be about. We don't know all the particulars. We believe it will probably be new construction on the west side of the campus. Don't know a cost for sure. We're still in the preliminary phases of that, but we do know that it's something we want to do over the next few years. That new headquarters will have room to house all 4 ambulances. Another thing with the way where the location of the ambulances right now behind the administrative center is that that's also where a lot of the food delivery trucks park. So they said there are many times where the guys have to go out there, or the ladies, and knock on the window and say, hey, can you move your delivery truck? We have an emergency. So we don't want to have to do that anymore. We want to provide them with nicer sleeping quarters, restrooms with showers in them, a training room, a nicer lounge day room with adequate kitchen facilities, and an office. So, as I said, it's an ambitious goal. It's going to be an expensive campaign. We anticipate going out to foundations and corporations, both local and perhaps national, to ask for their assistance in this. We do not expect that it's all going to come from the Gala, but we do believe that the Gala will be a good kickoff of the event. It will show other funders out there that John Knox Village is behind this project and that our residents supported an event that raised money to provide the initial funding for this purpose. So, and I just have to say that I've had the opportunity to visit with both Brian Apoka and Daniel and other people who work back in EMS, and they are the nicest people, and they just kept saying, we love John Knox Village. We are here because we care about the residents. We're fine with what we have. It's okay. We're not asking for any more. I mean, it sure would be nice, but it doesn't change their level of dedication to what they're doing. So it's not because they've asked us to do this, but it's because we feel that they have done so much for John Knox Village and for the community, and we want to do this for them. So stay tuned for more information about how we will raise a roof for EMS. Thank you. Any questions for me before I put my mask back on? No? Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, as I said, lots of good information. And next month, we'll have more good information. Typically, we meet the first Monday of each month, 2 o'clock here in the CCC. However, knowing how flexible you are, we're going to change that date. July, the first Monday, happens to be when the Independence Day is celebrated. So we will meet the second Monday, which is July 12th. We'll meet here, and Brian Apoka is going to be here to tell us about transportation at John Knox, and we'll know more about making reservations on the bus and all that kind of thing. So I hope you all will attend. Glad to see so many. We can always get more chairs. Goodbye.